Hello guys, I'm S3D, and if you don't agree to those terms, it's time for you to go watch something else. Anyway, this is gonna be a review on the Bandai Real Grey 144 scale Destiny Gundam from Gundam Seed Destiny. And yes, on the left we have the Real Grey, and on the right we have the Metal Robot Damashi. And I'm gonna do a comparison between the two. Yeah. So let's go ahead and put this guy right here. And this also right here is the high grade. So now I got all three of them in 144 scale form. I'm actually missing one. There is actually a standard Robot Damashi. 140, well, almost 144 scale Destiny Gundam. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of that guy, that figure. So we'll just make do with these three. I don't know. Ever since I got the Metal Robot Damashi Destiny Gundam, I've been obsessed with this mobile suit. I don't know why. I think this is actually a kind of a somewhat underrated mobile suit. The design is actually pretty cool. It's something that kind of reminds me of the Zeta Gundam, which I like a lot. It just doesn't have the stupid transformation. I mean, the transformation on Zeta is really not that bad. But, you know, I would prefer it if it doesn't transform. Anyway, yeah, unfortunately, you know, if you guys watch Gundam Seed Destiny, a lot of us here in the US are not big fans of Gundam Seed Destiny. I think it's just a cultural difference. I know people love it in Japan and parts of Asia. You know, we're just not used to the way like people behaving like that because we were raised in the American culture where people just, you know, that kind of behavior is not very common. So anyway, so there we go. That's the design difference. You can see all three of them. Let's see, let's get them all into frame and you can see the design differences. Of course, if you want to do anything with, you know, the Destiny Gundam, this is the best choice. You won't have any problem posing this guy because it's an action figure. You can do whatever you want with it. And since they have metal joints, you can even play around with it without worrying about anything breaking. Nothing falls off, of course, except maybe for these parts on the hands. Other than that, this is a lot of fun. But these are model kits, and you will have a lot of fun building them. In fact, the Real Grey was actually a lot of fun building it. You know, I always make a joke with my friends, like, okay, with the Real Grade, it's like, you know, it's all about the build process. Enjoy the build. Once you finish building it, just throw away the kit. Because you're not going to do anything with it anymore. Yeah. So, anyway, the high grade, you get the most bang out of your buck. It's relatively cheap. And you can pose it. You can do a lot more with it for less than 20 bucks. So, yeah, if you're on a budget, you want something that just works, you know, the high grade is definitely a no-brainer. So there we go. Now you see the differences. Let's go ahead and just get on with the review. Now, I already talked about the box and instruction, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. We're going to go over the accessories. So we get Beam Saber effect parts, like these ones, which you're not going to use. And we got this shield right here, which requires stickers. I wish they would just molded this thing in this color, this beam shield, instead of having force you to use stickers. And this thing just works pretty simply. Basically, it's just like the high grade and the Metal Robot Damashi or the Robot Damashi. You just plug this on here like that. And then you stick this piece back on here, and there you go. There's your beam shield, and this is one of the hand that comes with the Real Grey frame. All right, so we have that. We also have a whole bunch of well, we got these Real Grey hands with the hand covers. So one thing I really don't like about the design on this kit is that the instruction manual tell you to put these foils around these hand covers, which looks absolutely terrible. So I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna just sell this thing without putting on the stickers. Whoever buys it, the sticker sheet's still here if you want to put those on. That's up to the new owner. Of course, I'm selling like this kit. I don't know. I'm debating to keep one, and I'm leaning toward this guy if nobody buys it, because I'm actually super happy with this thing. Like more than I expected. You know, usually I really don't care about Gundams from anything other than UC or maybe from Double O. But this thing has really grown on me. I think this might actually be my favorite Gundam of all time. This might be from a series that I absolutely don't like. Anyway, we have these beam saber, beam boomerang effect parts. So I'm just gonna show you guys how that works. This is actually not bad. The effect parts here are actually quite interesting. So now we have the beam boomerang right there. And as always, the beam boomerang, on the Rio Grey and the Metal Robot Damashi, and even the Robot Damashi, you have options to turn these things into beam sabers. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Just not on the high grade. I wish the high grade had that option. So there we go. That's that. I'm only going to show it one time and stick it on here because it looks a lot better with this thing on the shoulder than, you know. This guy does have a lot of posability issues, but we'll get into that. We have a little miniaturized figurine of Shin Asuka. Really not a fan of this character. This guy drives me nuts. I think he's just out for revenge because freaking Kira. Oh, well, Kira is terrible anyway, so let's not talk about that. We have the adapter for the Axiom Base, so you can put this guy on the Axiom Base, which I highly recommend getting. If you don't plan on throwing away this kit, if you want to just like pose it, put it in the pose, and just never touch it again. Get an Axiom Base, stick this thing on the Axiom Base, put it in the cool pose, stick it on the shelf, and let it collect dust for 100 years or more. Alright, so and then we got this shield adapter right here, which you're not going to use because there's no use for it. And we also have this part right here. This is for the Erendite sword. Yeah, I learned everything about the Destiny. The Palma Fiocina hands right here, right? The Erendite sword, the Mega Beam Launcher thing. Got beam rifle and the shield. So there we go. Yeah, we talk about these. He only has one gripping hand for the weapon, so that's weird. I guess it's not weird. I wish he can hold a weapon because on the Robot Mashi and the high grade, usually it show him doing the Palma Fiocina on this hand, on the right hand, and then him holding the shield and the beam rifle on the left hand. So there we go. I mean, it looks really nice. You can definitely tell from just looking at it, the Rio Grey is a lot more detailed than even the Metal Robot Damashi. This thing is just hyper detailed, as you would expect from any Rio Grey kit. This thing is insanely detailed. Yeah. And I have a confession. Basically, you know, a lot of people hate building Rio Greys. I kind of hated when I first started, you know, because I have really bad experience with the Sinanju. But nowadays, I actually enjoy building Rio Grade because they're quite challenging. Master grades are fun to build too, but the parts are very big. It really doesn't pose any kind of challenge. With the Rio Grade, you get those tiny parts, and it's a pain in the butt to put it on. But yeah, it's challenging. I like it. I like a challenge. So there you go. I'm not gonna lie about this because this thing does look good. It looks really nice. Unfortunately, the build is fun. It looks nice. You're just really not gonna do much with it because it's a Rio Grey. The frame is not gonna last. Right out of the box. If you're not really just putting in extreme poses and stuff like that or messing around with the joints, it should last a little while. Right now it's not all loosey goosey and stuff. It feels somewhat solid, so it's not too bad, but eventually it's going to turn into a piece of junk if you plan on touching it or doing anything with it. Oh, I know. I remember my Zaku, my Rio Grey Zaku review. A lot of people said, it's good as long as you don't ever touch it. And yeah, that's a good assessment with these Rio Greys. It's awesome as long as you don't touch it ever again. So here we have the shield. The shield you can open and close. It's very similar to the shield from the high grade. In fact, it's the same exact shape. try to get the shield off the high grade. So here's the shield for the high grade. You can see it's got more decals on it. Otherwise, it looks exactly the same. Looks the metal robot Damashi, they took like some creative liberties. Again, like I said, the one problem with the metal robot Damashi is just these parts kind of like to come off. If you like, if you mess with it. So here's the shield for the metal robot Damashi. Definitely not as detailed, but I actually like this thing. I think this is a very cool style. So there we go. We have that. And we have the shield for the RG. The beam rifle is definitely... Oh, see, look at that shit. It's already starting to come off. Alright, I'm just going to put this thing here and then put on the Palma Fiocina hand. Like that. It's already on eBay, so somebody might buy it. So here we have the beam rifle versus the beam rifle for the metal robot Damashi. There we go. So it's definitely more detail than the beam rifle from the metal robot Damashi. The beam rifle for the robot Damashi is actually, it's designed to be more anime accurate. So there we go. You have that. The high grade one is also more anime accurate. You can see right here. Supposedly with real grade, like the kits are just designed to be specifically designed, so it's supposed to be like this is how a mobile suit would look like in real life, although it really doesn't make any sense because there are no mobile suits in real life yet. So there we go. You can see it's highly detailed, and yeah. Unlike the high grade, it doesn't come with the Wings of Light effect. It doesn't come with the Palma Fiocina effect. The metal robot Damashi comes with the Palma Fiocina effect, but it doesn't come with the Wings of Light. What else is there to talk about? Well, we have the weapons here. The Erendite rifle. The Erendite sword, not the rifle. Here's a beam cannon. So this thing is actually very nicely detailed. Lots of stickers that you had to put on, but it helps out with detailing this thing. It's actually pretty cool. Alright, so the Erendite, you also have stickers that goes in here. These are not bad because you're not going to be touching it, so that should last a while, I hope. There we go. As you can see, once you put that beam effect on here, this thing looks very sweet. Yeah, I mean, it's like... Yeah, let me grab the high grade version. It's definitely superior to the high grade version, as you can see. It looked very similar. I think the high grade one would look good too if you put the sticker on it. I mean, shape wise, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. So that's that. But the metal robot Damashi version is just so much better. Look at that. This thing is just... Whew. This thing is like chunky. It's beefy. It doesn't feel like it's going to break on you. There we go. Yeah, now that is a sword. There we go. And here we have the Mega Beam Cannon. This thing actually looks really nice with all the stickers on here. Very detailed, very cool. Here's a high grade version. There you go. Of course, with the high grade, I did some paint work on it, so it looks, less plain. Painted the tip of the rifle right there, and then also painted the back orange to match. The paint work's actually done by my friend. I let him practice my figure, my high grade universal, high grade cosmic era model kit, Gunpla. I keep wanting to call them figures, even though they're not. I feel like I'm one of those kids on Jammer who calls like model kits action figures. They have no idea what they're talking about. Okay, so there we go. We have the Mega Beam Cannon here. This is the Metal Robot Damashi. As you can see, yeah, the real grade is more detailed. But this thing is solid. This thing is solid as a rock. Versus this thing, which, you know, I feel like at some point this thing is just gonna become a huge, humongous mess. Like that joint right there. So, yeah. Okay, I think it's time to end the comparison and just finish up this review. So, if you guys build real grades, you know the issues like the inner frame. The thing I realized, the more real grade that I build, the armor parts just attach the same way with almost every kit. So, really, like if you build one real grade, you already know how all the armor goes on. I mean, yeah, these are 2 parts, and then you get the knee parts. This thing feels like almost exactly the core mobile suit itself. The build feels almost exactly like building a Gundam Mark II, the real grade Gundam Mark II. So yeah, with the major differences in the forearm because of the this part, and maybe the shoulders. Other than that, it feels like a Gundam Mark II. Yeah, the major differences is the backpack. So this thing adds a lot of weight to the kit itself, which can, you know, pose as an issue. It caused some serious weight issues with the kit. But here we go. Here we have the backpack. So what I recommend with the backpack is that you definitely need to glue these winglets. Yeah, these winglets, I recommend gluing them in. Especially the parts where it separates. Otherwise, you are gonna be very pissed off. Every time you touch your wings, this thing's gonna split, and then it's gonna come apart, and then you're gonna start raging. So once you glue those in, you shouldn't have any major issues with these wings. In fact, once you glue it, it should be pretty good. Now, another humongous problem with this kit is these terrible seals right here. I mean, once you put them on, they look terrible. And they're not going to wrap around, so they're just going to be like standing like that loose. These parts on the backs are actually pretty good. They do hold the weapons in very nicely. So there's that. And this thing opens up very nicely. It looks very nice. Hey! My cats are going crazy again. Because you guys have been following my channel, my cat hates Gunpla. So there we go. Every time when they see me reviewing Gunpla, they go crazy. Hey! So there we go. So that's the wings. Definitely more detailed than the Metal Robot Damashi. And let's talk about the core mobile suit itself. So there we go. Like I said, it feels very much like the Gundam Mark II. The articulation is all pretty much the same. It's got these humongous feet, which looks very ugly. I mean, yeah. Metal Robot Damashi got these tiny ass feet. I think the reason for it to be like this is because you know, they want to keep this thing stable. But these are ridiculous. These are ugly as hell. But anyway, we have the toe joint right here. In fact, this is probably some of the biggest feet I ever seen in the real gray. Yeah, seriously, like the XCF feet are tiny. The Mark IIs are standard size. But what the heck is going on with these feet? It's like he went to the store and he bought like he's like a size 8 or something, and he bought like a size 14 or size 15. Ridiculous. Like that is not a good design. Okay, and then of course when you move the articulate the legs, you get the armor separation. This thing makes me nervous, especially on this kit. I feel like something is gonna get fucked up doing that. So I'm gonna do this once and just never do it again. There you go. Armor separation right there. All right, let's move up the front skirt, the independent. We have the, well, I mean, this thing is designed this way. It doesn't really have any grooves, so you just plug this thing in here, right? You plug this thing in here for the adapter. And I think that's it. You just pop this thing in here like that. Yeah, we got the thigh cut. I mean, it's like the old style hips, so there's really not much to talk about. I don't think you're gonna be like doing some, like, I think you're gonna do like one pose with this guy, and that's it. I mean, it's starting to fall apart already. So we got articulation here for these side skirts. Got articulation right here for the back skirt. Got these which you can move up. But yeah, like with real gray, you want to minimize touching these kits because they're just gonna fall apart on you eventually. Got side to side. Really no ab crunch. We have the hinge right here for the neck. It's actually not a hinge, it's just a ball joint. There we go. You can rotate that. We got the shoulder with the armor part that can go up like that, so that's okay. The arm, you can rotate 360, although I don't really recommend it. There's a ball joint in here that connects this part. We have the shoulder armor can kind of go up a little bit. Arm can go perpendicular. We got the bicep swivel. We got the double joint, the elbow, and we got a ball joint for the wrist. And that is pretty much it for the articulation. Yeah, the backpack is a big issue. The feet, despite being humongous, still really doesn't hold its weight, which is very sad. This is why Bandai scrapped the stupid RG inner frame, because they don't work. They're just trash. But, you know, if you love building real grades, you know, if you enjoy building real grades, again, this is very fun to build. And you're okay with the end result of it being like nothing other than a brick, then you should be okay with this kit. Otherwise, get the high grade. And if you can afford it, if you can afford something more high-end, definitely go with the metal robot Damashi. Or just the robot Damashi itself. I don't know how much robot Damashi is. I imagine it's probably really not that expensive, probably under $50. If you can find the robot Damashi figure, I would definitely recommend getting it. If you want to see the review, Anthony's Custom has a review on the robot Damashi Destiny Gundam figure. I'll probably put the link in the video description or something so you can see that. It's very similar to the metal robot Damashi. So, yeah, that might actually be your best bet if you want to do anything with the Destiny Gundam. The high grade is good, but, you know, at some point, it will probably start getting loose on you as well. So, anyway, good looking kit, fun build. The end result is not great. It's your standard real grade, old style real grade, not like the new one. The new ones are a lot more functional after you finish building it. All right, so that's pretty much it for this review. I hope you guys find the information helpful. Thanks for watching.